So, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. My name is Anne, and you're watching Anne's Frame. And today I want to discuss a few things that you're not supposed to say in an interview. Probably give you alternative answers to those questions when you are confronted with such. And there are some questions in interviews that will determine whether you get a job or not. So here you are, you've gone to school, you've done your best course, you've applied for a job, you've been able to get a chance, or you've been shortlisted for an interview, but the way you answer some questions may determine whether you're going to get that job or not. And so today I want to tell you some of the answers you shouldn't give in an interview, or take you through how you're supposed to answer some questions. And I'll start with one of the very first questions in an interview, whereby as you come in and as you explain, or as you introduce yourself, possibly before a lot of questions come in, the interviewer would want to know why you want to leave your current job, or why you're interested in leaving your previous employer. And so we all know that most of us leave our jobs for various reasons, and most of them, most of the times, would be negative reasons as to why we want to leave our jobs. Perhaps your work environment has been very unfriendly, or you've been having a very bad boss, or you do not interact well with your team. There is no team spirit. While these issues come up in our previous jobs, and as they come up as reasons as to why we would want to change jobs, we should always avoid, or you as a candidate, you should always ensure that you avoid talking ill about your previous employer. So any negative thing that you have against your employer, avoid talking about it in an interview. Number two, let me go to most of the last questions asked in an interview, and you have come for that interview, you've been taken through the interview, you've answered your questions, and possibly at the tail end, you are asked whether you have a question. What happens? Most of the candidates will say, I do not have a question. While you may not have really a question on the same, it is important that you don't just go and say, I don't have a question. Perhaps you could approach it in a different way, even if you know why or much about the role you're being interviewed for. You could instead ask, could you tell me a little bit more about this role, or about this project, or about, what it entails? Because saying you do not have a question, it actually in a way shows unpreparedness on the part of the candidate. There is a question which will most likely come in your interview, where the interviewer will ask you about your strengths and your weaknesses. And I know the strengths come out very well. What we are strong in will come out clearly. But when it comes to the weaknesses, most of us tend to shy away from giving our weaknesses. But being the human beings we are, no single human being who does not have a weakness. And so when you tell an interviewer that you do not have any weakness, it is sort of sounds unrealistic. And the best way to approach it is possibly say, I am working on improving my skills on that very thing that you think you have a weakness in. So avoid saying that you do not have, you do not have a weakness. I've seen this with a lot of our people, and especially the young generation, the Gen Zs, whereby they come for an interview and the first thing they want to know is, how many off days am I entitled to in a week? Or something like, what are the benefits like? Is there a vacation for this role? I mean, do I have any vacation? Am I entitled to any vacation? Others will come asking, what time do you leave work? Some of these issues, you don't have to be so keen about it, because either way, this doesn't change the benefits that you get in that role or in the job. So possibly what you could ask is, how does a day look like for this role? You're asking about the same question, but you're bringing it in a different way, which shows that you're not just so keen about what is in it for me, as much as you should be concerned about what is in it for you. Let the employer see that you are not very, very interested in what is coming with the package, or how the package and the other benefits. Yes, there are benefits, but let it come out in a different way. Let the people look at it differently. Let your employer see that is not the only thing you are concerned about. And as I said, in most of the people, it comes out clearly that they're just interested in knowing how many days am I resting in a week, and such. Sometimes we go for interviews for jobs that possibly we don't have much experience on. Maybe you are very new in your role, you've not worked for long, and looking at this interview or this job, you feel like, this is going to be a stepping stone for me to learn more. But then, please ensure that you don't say that this is a good stepping stone for me, because this portrays your career migratory tendencies. And for sure, no employer is willing or wishes to invest in short-term employees. Employers will feel like, so if this is a good stepping stone for this person, it means they are coming here for a training, and once they are experienced, they will migrate or they will transit to another organization. So no organization wants to act as a training ground and then people leave. You know what I mean? I've also seen in job applications, whereby people will apply for jobs they are not even qualified for. I am a trained accountant. I am a trained engineer. But every job that comes around, any job opening that I see, I just send my application. Sincerely, this will make you lose a lot of chances. And specifically, you don't say that I can take any job you offer me. There's no role called any job. There is no job called any job. So you have to be very categorical. You have to claim your negotiating powers, and you can only do this by applying for the job that you're qualified in. And so when it comes to negotiating, you have the negotiating power. Otherwise, when you say that I can take any job offer you give to me, it shows desperation. And on the other hand, it kills your negotiating power. Instead, you could say that my skills and abilities align to this role, Yeah, so let's avoid just saying I can take any job. I will attribute this next point to our youngsters again, the Gen Zs. And I've seen so many of them coming for interviews, and the moment they step into the job interview, they will start asking the interviewer, what is your company to work from home policy? They're already assuming there is a policy on working from home. Yeah? Unless you've been asked about working from home, you should always avoid asking for that, because actually it is too early to ask for such, and especially when it is coming from you as a candidate. Instead of going direct to it like that, you should possibly ask what is the company's approach to remote working and other working arrangements in general. So asking for whether you will be allowed to work from home shows that you just, you are not really ready for this job. And you shouldn't make it look like you've already planned your own arrangements for this, for this job. There's something else people tend to talk about. Possibly you've been asked a question that you do not know the answer. And when that comes, most of the candidates tend to say, I'll figure it out as we go on, or as I go on. That is not a very good answer to a question that you do not know. It suggests you're not really fit for the role. Obviously, it shows you are not fit for the role. Alternatively, you can say, I am confident in my ability to learn quickly and eager to continuously learn. So in short, it shows that you are willing to learn regardless of whether you knew the answer or not. But at least you've displayed your ability to learn fast. Someone would be able to consider you for that job. There is this also tendency of people talking or people giving irrelevant personal information. As much as you want to leave the interviewer with the impression of your memorable and right reasons, you should always ensure that you don't give a lot of irrelevant personal information to the interviewer, which is unnecessary, There are so many questions people answer wrong. And like I've seen people being asked about a question, actually something that is in their CV. And since they have not mastered their CVs, because some people will take their CVs to be made somewhere, but you should always take time to go through your CV, understand what is there, and understand what you've really written in that CV. Because what happens is some people will come, you're asked a question, and then you tell your interviewer, it is actually on my resume. Why don't you check from my resume? It is always good to master your CV and know what is actually in your CV. As much as someone has made it nicely for you, let what is in the paper reflect what is in you. Yeah? So, besides the HR and organizations recruiting for passion, recruiting for experience, recruiting for attitude, you need to master how to answer some questions that are asked in an interview. And I would want to go to the last thing. Of course, there are so many other questions, and we'll be looking at them in future. Most of the times, we as human beings sit and pray that, God, you've given me a good course. I've been able to have supportive parents. I've been supported through college. I have gotten the best CV. I have applied for a job. I've been considered for an interview. And here I am, I've gotten the job. What is next? As I have always say, I am a strong believer in God. And so some of us are very quick to pray when problems come, or when we do not have these jobs we are praying, and God does us the honor of giving us the jobs. So once you've gotten the job, remember to go back and tell God thank you. Remember, there was a time you did not have this job. No matter how small the pay is, no matter how bad the environment is, sit down, reflect, and see where you've come from. At least go back and say thank you, because you've gotten what you prayed for, and you still want God to continue helping you. I'm not saying if you don't go say thank you, will not be assist. God will not help you, but let us learn the heart of gratitude. Let's go back and say thank you, Lord, for what you've done for me. And besides that, now do your best to deliver in what you portrayed in the interview, because some of us can portray the best in the interviews, but on the job you find that it is really different. So I think that is it for today. We'll keep on looking at other issues slowly by slowly. Keep watching, keep subscribing to my channel, keep sharing, and that is it for today. See you in my next video. Bye-bye.